Hi there. I put together a series of my own project management tips for each phase of the SAP ASAP project lifecycle. And you can download them on my website at www.sapbwconsulting.com. I wanted to walk you through each one of them, and this first one, getting things right prior to the start of the project, is what I consider the most important critical part of it, though it is actually covered least in the ASAP methodology. These are my top 10 project management tips. One applies before the contract is signed. What should you do? Have the actual SAP project manager review it. Of critical importance is it executable? How do you know if it's executable? One, you can track the requirements from the RFP to the SOW. In other words, you've got track and trace from what the business wanted to what's in your contract. Number two, everyone understands what is standard functionality and what developments are known about. And number three, you can make the financials work in a spreadsheet. The project must be profitable for the implementer, or it is a walkaway situation. Number two, the sales to consulting transition checklist. This is part of the ASAP methodology. It's typically done behind the scenes between the SAP implementation team and the sales team. Customers can and should sit in on this, as there is a huge number of documents that need to be exchanged and understood between the implementation team and the sales and pre-sales team. You as a customer have a great deal invested in this, so you should make sure it happens. Number three, business case validation and alignment. If you don't have a business case with a positive ROI, with less than 1 year as the initial payback period, or 6 months ideally, why are you doing the project? If you need help with the value management methodology, SAP provides an excellent set of tools housed in the Online Value Lifecycle Manager, or VLM for short. They, along with SAP BW Consulting, have certified SAP value engineers to help you with the development of a valid business case. Order hardware on time. The first step to getting this done is the completion of the SAP Quick Sizer tool by the account executive. You will then receive a series of questionnaires from the proposed hardware vendors, which you, the customer, select. They are very complex and ultimately result in a complete proposed bill of materials and normally a project proposal for the installation and maintenance of the hardware throughout the complete life cycle of the project. As the SAP project manager, you want to ensure this process is happening, and most importantly, that you have a box to install your initial IDAS solution on and set up Solution Manager so that you have it available during the project preparation phase. Otherwise, you will not be able to do any process walkthroughs during the blueprint phase and will be delayed. The project manager selects all people. This one always causes some issues. Bottom line is simple. The SAP project manager must interview and select all team members. You, as the customer, can ask for co-approval authority, but you must ensure your PM, who is large and in charge, builds the team. He has responsibility for project profitability and is essentially running a large business starting from zero. He may not know the technical details of every module and will need some help to interview technically team members from modules outside his area of expertise. Customers will have almost no knowledge of the SAP modules if it is a greenfield implementation, and only limited knowledge of the modules implemented within their company if they are an existing company. Is it really fixed priced, fixed scope? A 20% management reserve is the standard for a fixed priced, fixed scope project as defined by the U.S. government's cost schedule control system. The larger the scope of the project and the more developments required, the less likely is this to be enough. This goes back to the issue of whether it is an executable project. The training plan is approved prior to SOW sign-off. Never cut the training plan for either the project team or the end users. Make sure the training plan is known and budgeted for within the overall project budget and is integrated into the overall project plan and schedule. Ensure SAP industry best practices are used. This requires training for the customer and sometimes for the SAP consultants. If there are no SAP industry best practices for your specific industry, or you are a conglomerate that encompasses many industries, the selection and employment of these critical nuggets of knowledge from SAP will be key to successfully implementing your SAP system. Solution Manager installed during project preparation phase. The Solution Manager must be installed with the SAP industry best practices and the initial change in transport management approach set up. You also need to have most, if not all, documentation standards loaded and all team members trained on what the documentation standards are. Establish a steering committee. This is an often overlooked task. The project manager can't actually do this by himself, but must ensure that there is a fully empowered steering committee, that you meet with them at least once prior to the blueprint phase, and that each member of the steering committee knows both what they're expected to do, for example, make decisions which may impact the budget, and to know how to know whether the project is progressing as expected. Well, there you have it. There are many other issues to attend to prior to starting the project, but in my experience, the mistakes that cause project failures, or just tougher than usual projects, are almost exclusively due to the actions taken prior to the signing of the statement of work. In other words, the initial conditions, which work much like the wings of a butterfly flapping in the Indian Ocean, ultimately leading to a hurricane hitting southern Florida. Thanks. Brought to you from Spain all the way to Indiana.